Ghost in the Shell 2026. The Ghost in the Shell. This adaptation was made for the manga snobs. For you, manga only, the manga is better. If you only watch anime, you don't know the real story. Elitists. For you guys, you should be creaming in your pants right now because they have given you a manga accurate adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. I've said this many times. I'm not one of those manga snob elitists. I only read manga for series I absolutely love with incredible artwork and story. Those being Berserk, Gantz, and some others like Claymore, and there's some other mangas I've read, but primarily Berserk and Gantz. So, as far as Ghost in the Shell goes, of course, the 1995 movie, I've always held it as one of the great works of anime. That's basically a universal fact of the matter. I first really got deep into the Ghost in the Shell franchise when Ghost in the Shell Arise came out. I believe that was around 2011-ish. So that was like before Attack on Titan came out, before anime really started hitting mainstream like that. It was still niche at that point. It was a reboot series of Ghost in the Shell. Arise is a younger Motoko. It shows how Section 9 is formed, so it was a perfect jumping on point for new fans or new audience to jump into the franchise. It had new character designs, felt very modern. I mean, Ghost in the Shell always feels very modern because how futuristic it is, but it was like similar. It was in that same era as Berserk Golden Age arc, the Berserk Golden Age arc movies. So it had some really smooth action and I really liked it. I remember really getting pulled into that atmospheric, into the atmosphere of Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell has this atmosphere where you just start feeling like you're living in it. And more recently, I actually finally watched Standalone Complex. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit that it took me this long to watch Standalone Complex. I remember when it used to come on Toonami. But I'm honestly glad I saved it for myself because with there being no more great anime really for me to discover because I've seen basically everything, having Standalone Complex to watch totally from episode 1 all the way through was great. It was terrific to watch season 1 of Standalone Complex. It has disrupted my top 3 for best anime of all time. I think, for me, I've always said Samurai Champloo, but I think Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex honestly could be greatest anime of all time. And I haven't finished Second Gig yet. I'm taking my time with it because once I finish it, I can't watch it for the first time again. So yeah, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex really made me fall in love with Ghost in the Shell in a way that even the movie and Arise hadn't. Motoko especially, I really got obsessed with Motoko for like a few weeks. I was just really obsessed with her. And I've been waiting for the new anime for so long. And now that it finally dropped, I sat down and watched it. I'm really glad that it's an Amazon Prime exclusive and it's not on Shitflix. Science Saru has been redefining the anime medium in the modern era since Devilman Crybaby. And if you compare Devilman Crybaby to Dandadan to Ghost in the Shell, you see their evolution. Because Dandadan felt like very much an advancement and refinement from what they started with Devilman Crybaby. But watching Ghost in the Shell, it's just like they've really, really peaked. I mean, the way that they're using camera shots. I remember there's this scene in episode 1 where like the mud flings onto the camera lens. It just feels very, very futuristic. Very, very high performance anime, unlike honestly anything I've ever seen in all of anime. This isn't just solo leveling good Sakuga. This is true mastery of the animation medium. This is true architecture of animation, from characters to set pieces and scenery to locations and backgrounds, transitions and camera angles, the way everything is framed. There's just so much that they're doing so well, and there's so much to experience. It's honestly very immersive. I'd say what surprised me most is absolutely how immersive it is. I felt immersed in this episode. I don't even really know how I feel about it yet, because it was so immersive. It's such a strikingly different texture in contrast to Standalone Complex. Standalone Complex is almost like muted colors, hyper realistic, 2000s era animation style, whereas this looks and has that energy of 80s 90s anime, which I just watched a video breakdown where the dude was explaining that, so I gotta shout out dude for that. I don't know what his YouTube channel is called, but yeah, it has that 80s 90s energy anime, but it feels so advanced with the animation. It just feels like space age. Like, it feels like the most advanced anime I've ever seen in my life. Like, and Standalone Complex, honestly, when I was watching season 1, I was like, wow, this shit has been shitting on the next 20 years of anime that came after it still. But this has definitely, just in this first episode, and it's just episode 1, so it's like we have no idea exactly what they're going to do with the rest of the season. This is just episode 1, but they flexed so hard on episode 1 without actually flexing. Mind you, they didn't even have a serious combat sequence with Motoko in this episode. Like, Motoko wasn't even like in combat, hand-to-hand combat yet. So there's a lot more that they're gonna do with this season. I mean, Science Saru, I don't even have any, like, when they announced a new series, like when they announced they were doing Ghost in the Shell, I already knew this was going to be the result. I didn't know how they were going to do it or what it was going to look like. I'm not familiar with the manga. I haven't read the manga. I did check it out once I heard that they were doing the manga's accurate adaptation, but I knew this is what it was going to be, because Science Saru is the great anime studio of the modern age. I mean, they're the only ones, not the only ones, but they're the big studio where they're making anime that feels like classic anime. You know, MAPPA, they create the big impact series that have the biggest influence, and they have the huge budgets and whatever. But for me, Science Saru, they're my new studio pro. You know, they're the ones who, when they make something, it makes me remember why I love anime. So, yeah, Ghost in the Shell 2026 didn't disappoint at all. Stay shocked.